What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 2, Episode 33 of Clips and Dip. If you were on the YouTube Live last night, thanks for hanging out. That was over on @Clippers Podcast on YouTube. Adam came through at work, which was fun. He showed...
I came through all right.
Oh, wow. He showed some leg, which was odd. But I am Chuck Mockler. Adam Osland is here. William Updike is also here. We got the tripod for you. We're going to be talking. The win streak is over, but it was fun. We are going to talk how it ended. Some people were upset with how it ended. I don't know if I am. We're going to look at Clippers versus Celtics, which is a noon 30er tomorrow, which is not usually ideal for the Clippers. We're going to talk Kawhi Leonard being first-team All-NBA. Then we're bringing back a Love, Marry, Quarantine for the veteran listeners. But before we get into it, Adam, we'll start with Adam. How are we doing? How are we feeling the day after the streak is over?
I'm good. If you guys are wondering, I'm wearing pants, some sweats.
What were you drinking? I saw some pink liquid. In a bottle.
Hey, those are sick.
It's a pre-workout drink that has some caffeine in it, just to give myself a little.
Adam's sipping on the walk. If you're not watching,
this is what they call syrup.
Syrup. Like Geopat. Will, how is Montana? Are you spreading the gospel of the Clippers to Laurel, Montana?
Oh, as much as I can. Yeah, Laurel, Billings, the whole of the hub of Central Montana.
Hell yeah. We're going to rope that thing off, and it's going to be Clippers country soon.
It looks like they put you in the attic from the slant of the ceiling. That's what I'm observing.
This is the spare room. Got my heavy bag behind me. So don't press me today, Adam. Don't press me today.
I got some takes. Will,
you guys can't see the other side, but Adam's face is plastered on it.
What is happening? What's with the animosity? The win streak ends and things go off the rails.
Fuck off, Chuck. That's what's happening.
I don't know what's going on. How do we feel about the way that game ended? Adam, you came on the live stream a little bit last night. We didn't get into the game as a whole, but some people felt some type of way about how the Clippers played. But I think with the schedule and who was out, it's kind of to be expected.
They were down 13 in the first quarter. They battled back. They were down 14 in the second quarter. They battled back. It was that third quarter stretch where they went scoreless for about 3 minutes. Chet had the alley-oop off the backboard to himself.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the Clippers started to lose the distance they had closed on the OKC Thunder last night. But I thought overall, this was a game to me that if they had played it earlier in the season, the first quarter may have broke them, like what we saw in Dallas earlier this year, early on with James Harden, where basically that first punch they took turned into a knockout. I think that's what would have happened. But this team is competing, playing hard, and I know it's not the result you wanted, and they had to wave the white flag earlier in the fourth quarter, but I was okay with their competitive spirit overall. It wasn't a team that looked like to me that had one foot out the door and was satisfied with getting 2 wins on this road trip. It looked like they were still fighting.
We talked about that last night. Like, I thought, even though, it was disappointing to see an end of the streak, the body language on the floor was a lot different. And while the defense wasn't what we've come to expect through that winning streak, I just think it was very clear. And again, not to make excuses, but it was just very clear that this is an older team that was a little tired out, was really having trouble staying in front of Oklahoma City there. They were just a slice into the rim at ease. But I thought through all of that, and despite especially that first quarter of like insane
the 84% shooting stretch
for the
like, Thunder.
Yeah. It was just we did not see the team have like the sort of collapse of poise that we saw them have previously in games. So I think this isn't even an encouraging loss to me. It's not quite in that category, but it's not an alarming loss. I'll say that.
Yeah, when Josh Giddey, who shoots 31% from the outside, goes 3 of 3 in the first quarter, got injured, didn't play anymore, but the damage was really done. That was big. They got that jolt from him out of the gates, and the Clippers' game plan was, okay, take away everything else, let Josh Giddey shoot, and he burned him. That's a game plan you can live with. It's just unfortunate. The numbers weren't in their favor.
We've seen Jonas Valanciunas be the Josh Giddey before. We've seen a lot of people be the Josh Giddey before, where it's like, whatever, man. If they're going to make those shots, that's how we're going to lose this game, because you don't want to overcompensate too much on that. What was your favorite? I guess what's the most impressive win for you guys from this 9-game win streak that the Clippers had? There's some good ones in there. It's a solid win streak against some legitimate teams. We talked about last year's longest win streak, which had 2 wins against the Spurs inside of it. This one has a much more robust body of work for this Clippers team.
I'd go. I mean, the first win that comes to mind when you're talking most impressive is beating Denver with them fully healthy. Yeah. And the way they had to close that game with disrupting their pick and roll with Kawhi and Big Zoo just wrecking Jokic and Jamal Murray in a pick and roll that has looked unstoppable for a few years now. And it looked like the Clippers actually have a solution for it now. So I'd have to go with that. There have been a lot of them. I mean, a lot of good victories, beating up the Kings, beating up the Golden State Warriors twice. I mean, the 22-point comeback against Golden State, that was something born out of this, I guess, because that was the start of the 9-game road trip, right?
What if something was born out of this loss in Oklahoma?
I hope not. I don't. We'll find out tomorrow.
Adam, what's the opposite of something was born out of this?
Something died tonight. That's what would be the opposite, right? Am I wrong?
Pretty clear.
I like the Dubs pick. That's a good one, because that really is that comeback right before the Denver game. That's something they can point and remember to, even if things get a little lower this season than right now. I like that Dubs pick a lot. I might selfishly go just from the level we saw Kawhi hit late in the game. The game against Dallas.
I was going to put Dallas in there. Yeah.
That fourth quarter, dude, Kawhi was just like, okay, we're going to win this game now. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you being here, other team. I'm going to win. We're going, like, that for me was, Kawhi's been phenomenal through this winning streak, obviously, but that was somehow yet another level of Kawhi-ness against the team that I also hate. So
the spin move on Grant Williams, the Pacers win was great too, but that dunk with the left hand as he blew by Derrick Jones Jr., the explosiveness late in the game from Kawhi Leonard, I don't know if we've seen it to that degree since the torn ACL.
Yeah, the physically he's just looking. He continues to do his Kawhi ramp up, and it's looking phenomenal. Will, you brought up the Pacers game.
Pacers game, to me, that was just. I mean, I know no Miles Turner. To me, that wasn't. That's not making that big of a difference in that game to me. Like,
hell yeah.
I mean, not like I'm not saying it would have been.
Zoo do 31 and 29 on him. I can see the argument.
I'm not saying it would have. Like we might not have put up 151 on him or whatever, but
Will just called him Tina Turner. I can't believe that. Who sadly passed this past year.
Yeah, all right, Pete.
But seeing Harden in that fourth quarter, I mean, that was just another level, and that was a game. That was just one of those games that we talked about coming into it. Like, I would have been totally fine to have dropped, like a reasonably healthy Pacers team on the run that they're on offensively. Obviously, defensively not quite there. That would have been an understandable loss to me, but to win in such a convincing fashion. And to keep that win streak alive, I thought that was really something.
And wrecking Tyrese Halliburton, who I think was 3 of 12 in that game.
Absolutely.
And the defense on Luka early is another thing I liked from the Mavs game. He was very cold early in that game with
9 of 25, I think. Yeah. He only had 7 of his 30 points in the second half.
Clippers give guards trouble. Like, if you're on a hot streak and you're a guard, you cannot be that psyched on playing the Clippers.
Damian Lillard never beat the Clippers when we played him. Like, it was great. And the defense, this kind of transitions into something. We talked about this a little bit before we started. Looking a little too far ahead, perhaps. Should the Clippers make the playoffs? What did we like kind of playoff-wise that we could see really translating down the road? For me, we just talked the defense on Luka. The defense on Jokic was really nice to see. We threw him multiple looks in the win against that. I think I was most encouraged by the defense on the stretch, probably because Kawhi was playing so well.
Yeah, definitely in spurts. Although I was just pulling some defensive numbers.
And Kawhi stunk, according to Adam.
No.
Where's the love, guys? It's December 22nd.
But they're just 15th defensively over their last 10 games, and over their last 5, they're 24th. Now, they were first offensively during that period in their last 5 games.
We'll take.
But you don't want to have too much slippage there. This is BS. You just want to stay, because that's their identity. That's how they turn this thing around.
Yes.
It was their defense. Now, they played some really good offensive teams, so some of it's to be expected, but 24th defensively over their last 5 games. And look, they took on the Pacers, OKC, Dallas was in that stretch, the Knicks, and the Warriors. Those were the teams they saw during those 5 games. So good offenses overall, some real good offenses. Obviously, the Pacers #1 in the league, but you just want to be careful. Something worth monitoring, I guess, is how I'll put it.
I think that is a fair concern, or not a fair thing to monitor. I think the defense, that identity point, I think is a really good call.
Because you don't want them to go, oh, our offense is here now. We're the best offense in the league, and now we can hang our hat on that and forget about defense.
Yeah,
that's what I don't want. Those two things have to come together.
I like that. Yeah, it was kind of a little up and down this stretch. One would really be firing, one would take off a bit, but that does kind of make sense given the starting mashup against, and Harden coming into his own a lot more during this win streak too, which was really cool to see. That was another one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, and they're still over their last 18 games since the new starting lineup. They're top 10 offense, top 10 defense, but they're 10th defensively there, where they were just 5 2 games ago.
5. Yeah, kissing that top 5.
The top 5.
Will, what did you like maybe kind of playoff down the road wise from this win streak?
We just got our first glimpses of like what this offense can actually look like when it's clicking. I think that was one of the things that was so disheartening about the losing streak. We knew that it would take time with James Harden. It just feels like it didn't seem like there was a lot of linear progress. And now all of a sudden we're seeing something like completely different. We're seeing more ball movement. We're seeing sort of the idea for how Harden is going to handle the ball, and George and Kawhi are both going to be able to get their shots off around that. Ty Lue has talked about it, but I just thought it was very, very apparent. I feel like we saw more ball movement in the last 9 games than we did in the entirety of the previous season combined. So last 10 games, I guess. But
the Harden Zoo pick and roll opens up a lot of other stuff for the Clippers, which has been really cool to see. Adam, I think you pointed out that pass that Harden hit Amir with in the corner against the Thunder last night, and I think Amir missed the 3, but it was a Harden pick and roll to Zoo, and it was just a perfect read. It was split second. It was nice to see. I know Adam's answer to this. Did Amir Coffey do enough in this stretch to earn some real playoff run? I think he might have.
He knows my
playoff lineups are often determined in December. So
I know, but he's got like PJ Tucker's not playing in the playoffs. I think we know that.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I actually don't know that.
I'm gonna lose. I don't. Okay, that's
no. Against the right matchup for 5 to 10 minutes against somebody like Jokic or Zion, I would be fine with throwing PJ Tucker out there. His defense is still good.
Zion, sure. Jokic, I guess I'll have to see it. Maybe I'm so sour because we haven't seen him play any meaningful basketball.
It's on YouTube from the last couple of months if you want to check it out.
When the Clippers have played their best, he hasn't been there. So color me a little bit skeptical. We saw some people say the Powell Rangers lineup, as you talked about, Adam, they've been #1 offensively. That lineup has really helped things. You talked about defense. That lineup has a pretty easy person to hunt at the point of attack, which is Norm Powell. And we have some comments on the stream yesterday talking about how maybe that lineup in the playoffs won't be as effective, but I'm just enjoying the Powell Rangers ride. There's no reason to not get excited about this. And I think Norm Powell will win the Clippers a playoff game at some point.
I think Norm Powell's defense has been much better to start off this season. He said at training camp that the team wasn't looking for him to wait to start playing defense until they make the playoffs. It needs to start from game 1. And I think overall he's looked better in that respect. And that's why the Powell Rangers lineup, I think, is somewhere in the 90s with their defensive rating. And I don't think it's
crazy.
High 90s. It's with like 93, 94.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy D rating.
Yeah, I mean the best team defensive rating in the NBA is like 107, and then with that Powell Rangers lineup is somewhere around 95.
Start PJ, start Norm, the ultimate will combination in the playoffs. Who says no? All right. Any last notes on the end of the win streak? I would like to say maybe if things don't go as smoothly as they have later on down the season, let's remember this time and what we saw from the Clippers and the development we saw and how good this team could actually be. Let's remember fondly on these times would be my advice to people.
Yeah, just don't overreact if they lose to Boston and all of a sudden it's 2 losses in a row. Now, if they then lost to Charlotte too, if they lost to Charlotte and Memphis afterwards, that's much more concerning.
Sure.
But I'm more worried about they got to a point where you could say, okay, we're back to if there's good process and they lose, it doesn't feel as bad. It's not just about you got to win tonight regardless. They're too far down the standings. That 9-game winning streak got them back to that place maybe we thought they would be to start off the season where they were 3-9 or whatever it was. They ended up making up for that 6-game losing streak, and now they're kind of in that position where we thought they could be, given the adjustment period with James Harden now and just that transitional phase. 17-11 is solid. They're top 5 right now in the West, and they're within striking distance of being top 2.
Yeah, I'm glad that you bring that up because I do think as they continue to stack up wins and win in bunches like this, they get a little bit more breathing room, which is obviously great just from a perspective of comfortability as a Clippers fan. But we talked about this a little bit on the stream last night, so I'm not going to retread too much ground here in case if you're listening to this, you already saw that. But it did get me thinking about especially that game in Oklahoma City about how there is actually – with the talent level of this team, once we're in a comfortable standing, there is minutes, like actual developmental minutes for guys lower down in the rotation that I did not think were there a couple weeks ago. Real obvious one to point to is Amir Coffey, seeing him get some minutes and good minutes, not just real garbage time minutes, like actual minutes. And that's one of those things that, when they're a little bit more comfortable in the standings, or if they, stand pat where they are in the standings, it's not crazy to have 1 of 2 on 3 rest a game, to throw a few more minutes to Bones Highland, to give some of these other guys some real opportunities, which from where we were on that losing streak and where we were in the standings just felt like something that was so far out of reach. I couldn't even wrap my head around it because there were so many issues with the main players that it was like, it wasn't even something I could bother to think about. But that is something that's actually really exciting to me. If this is one of those teams that can, night in, night out, put away teams, I mean, especially lesser teams in, 3 quarters of play from your main guys, that starts to get really interesting in terms of what you can do with some of these other rotation guys. And sort of, we're talking about playoffs in December, like your playoff rotations could look a lot different if you can make meaningful minutes for some of these guys who could actually figure into soaking up some minutes in a playoff series.
And I should point out, as much as I had a little bit of concern over the defensive numbers recently, somebody on Twitter just hit me up like he was listening to the show and we were still in a live. Surprisingly, RA.
They're not outside your window, are they?
No.
Okay.
I hope not.
I'm keeping you safe, man. I don't know.
Rich89 wisely pointed out that a couple of those fourth quarters against New York and against Indiana, it was garbage time minutes. And the Clippers gave up a ton of points.
Yeah.
So you take out some of the inconsequential time minutes, obviously the defensive rating would look a little bit better over the last 10 games.
That's a good call. Shout out RA. Thank you for that. All right, coming up, we're going to have an ad break. These have been loud for some people. People have been yelling at me on Twitter that the ads were loud, and I say, we gave you a warning. I don't know what you want me to do. We got ads coming up, and then we're talking the 12:30 game against the Celtics, which feels a little odd. And then some Kawhi Leonard first team All-NBA stuff, all of that and coming up more. All of that and more coming up after these ads in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back into Clips and Dip. We talked a little bit about the win streak, which is now snapped, but now we're looking ahead to the Clippers, the rest of the Clippers' schedule to close out 2023, and no better place to start than Saturday versus Boston. Adam, you wanted to add this to the rundown, which you definitely read. Where would you like to kick off things on Boston?
I like the sarcasm there. Well, there's a lot of interesting points to make here. First of all, Jason Tatum turned his ankle against the Golden State Warriors. He didn't play against Sacramento in a game they still won, where they shot over 50% from the outside recently. But they're only one game over 500 on the road. I want to say they're 7-6. They haven't been as dominant there. And if you look at some of the advanced numbers, I mentioned the Clippers over the last 10 games. While they're 15th defensively, Boston is 11th, but the Clippers over the last 10, number one offense, and Boston during that stretch, you got to scroll down a little bit. In fact, I'm trying.
Are you having to switch pages? Is that how far down they are? Are you having to go to next page?
No, why'd this turn into a Where's Paldo? Oh, I'm being sarcastic. They're right behind the Clippers. They're right next to them in offensive rating. And if you go to pace of play, these two teams are right next to each other recently. Over the last 18 games with the Clippers' new starting lineup, Boston and them, I think they're both right next to each other. Yeah, in pace of play, and they're both, Clippers 19th in pace of play, Boston 20th pace of play. So there's a lot of similarities and ways to compare these teams right now, but Kristaps Porzingis is playing amazing basketball. A lot of people thought last season in DC with the Washington Wizards, oh, are those empty numbers? No, they are not. They are translating to winning now with the Boston Celtics. He's shooting 42% from three over his last 10 games. He's just been a beast, and they're a matchup problem because their starting lineup when Jason Tatum is there, we'll see about tomorrow, but they can stretch you out. They can go 5 out with their starting lineup. Not many teams, if any, can say that, can boast that. Boston is pretty unique in that way.
It feels like every year, of the 2-1-3 era, the Celtics and Clippers it's kind of like looking in a mirror personnel wise, right? Their two main guys are two big wings. Our two main guys are two big wing. Like it's always been very kind of like Clippers West over there. Kawhi, they just released the injury report, questionable for the game against the Celtics. PG not on the report, so his tummy is all good. Norm Powell should be healthy to go. But if Kawhi can't go, the Kristaps Porzingis problem seems bigger to deal with.
Wait, what the F is this? I'm seeing Kristaps Porzingis is out.
Wait, do you want a screen share?
I don't know how to do that. I can't read the rundown and I can't screen share.
Charles, screen share for the old man.
Hold on. Oh, left ankle sprain. Out for tomorrow's game. 18 minutes ago. It just happened. Justin Russo.
Well, 18 minutes ago.
Okay, Will. You're not helping it. Will, you're not.
Dude, that was so 18 minutes ago.
Will, are you going to help?
You're a time casual.
19 now. Time casual is a very.
Dude, I am time casual. I think that's very fair.
That is such a great term for people who are late all the time. Hannah, time casual.
I'm very time casual.
Wow. Kudos to Adam. Wonderful. Anyway, Kristaps Porzingis out for tomorrow's game against the Clippers, while Jason Tatum is still questionable. Ooh, that's a bit of a spicy meatball given the time for this one.
Well, I'm guessing Kawhi Leonard doesn't play now. I don't think they're going to push it if he's questionable.
I like that idea.
And again, like we talked about last night, when Kawhi Leonard is actually rolling around in pain, it probably hurts pretty bad because he didn't even do that when he tore his ACL.
Yeah, he was like,
so you can say, oh, it's a bruise, it's a contusion. It's got to be bad if Kawhi Leonard was looking like that.
Do we have any? So this is shaping up to be a potential really wonky game.
It's not going to be as indicative as we thought of some big head-to-head matchup where we can really, have a lot of takeaways from it and read into it and project forward of the playoffs or a possible finals matchup.
That kind of bums me out. That makes me sad. Well,
Still,
way, still
Derek
gotta
White,
stop. Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, those guys lit up the Sacramento Kings. Pritchard off the bench had 20+ points in that game, I believe, as well.
Dude, he can be a spark plug. He can just start hitting threes. It's insane.
Let me put my Ducks hat on. You gonna tell me about Peyton Pritchard?
He's great. I'm just giving him praise.
He's fine. He plays in the NBA.
20
He's
points
one of the
last
top
game.
450 players in the world, Chuck.
You know how many, Chuck? I'm on your side. What's the stat that people always talk about where they're like, only 4,000 people have played? And that's like such a new stat that people have started bringing out this year, I feel like, of like only 4,500 people have actually played in the NBA. It's like, okay, it's still big numbers aren't exactly like easy to wrap your head around. So is this game a toss-up?
Is 4,500 the biggest number you can think of?
Yeah. Why else would I need a bigger number? I've never seen more than $4,500. I've never spent more than $4,500 on a car. Yeah. What's the biggest number you can think of? 5,000?
I got that many receipts on me right now.
Well, we know that.
That's it.
You could be like that. What's that old commercial where the guy's wearing all the receipts? Or is that an old money commercial?
Luckily, we're observing humility season right now.
Sure. This is like a weird toss-up now. We're going to need, this might have to be...
Now, the Clippers need to win.
Yeah, Clippers need to win.
If they don't have Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis,
if the Clippers
are just without Kawhi Leonard, even if they're just missing one of those two guys, I'm going to say coming back home,
hell yeah,
12:30 start. You want things to be different this season, start winning those 12:30 games. And to be honest, I've never really bought into the, woe is me, 12:30 start times, only because of this. Nobody else really has them like the Clippers, I understand. But at what point can we get away from saying, it just throws them off their rhythm when they have so many of these 12:30 starts? Right. At what point should they be used to them? If we're always talking about how they have them, that means they should probably be used to them by now and adjust.
I mean, when it comes to a nooner game, the Clippers are Bane. They should be taking advantage. They should absolutely be taking advantage of opponents at the noon 30 game. They were born in mid-daylight.
You know what else? Because
you haven't even adapted to it.
Some good shit. Good shit this segment.
They were walking on the sun like Smash Mouth.
Yeah. Might as well.
Another RIP. You know what I think Boston might be doing, though? I think they might be waiting for the Laker game on Monday. They're going to rest Jason Tatum and Kristaps in this game for the big showcase against the Lakers on Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know who the big dogs in LA are.
No, it's about the NBA wanting to see those guys out there. And it could end up being a similar situation to what we saw with the Knicks last weekend, where the Clippers take them out and then they beat the Lakers. I would love to see that with Boston.
That'd be a good time. So the Celtics game should probably be a dub. The rest of the games in 2023 for the Clippers, they play the Hornets, and then they play the Grizzlies, a rejuvenated Grizzlies team with Ja Morant.
He knows about receipts.
Yes, he does. The Hornets, that should be a win, right?
They better be.
Right?
They're at home. The Hornets are one of the worst teams in the league. You have to win that ball game.
You have to win that ball game.
You do.
And it's at a normal time.
If you want to be a top 2 seed.
Day after
top
Christmas,
3 seed.
That's a game where it would be nice to see the defensive rating get a little loose in the fourth quarter because it's already put away. It would, it really
they
would.
should dispatch Memphis, I feel like, fairly easily as well, too. I mean, other than Jaren Jackson Jr., I mean, who's really stopping anybody? I mean, defensively, though, who's really stopping anybody? I would love to see that be a big zoo game. No Steven Adams for Memphis. No disrespect to Ja or anything, but the Grizzlies are just not that good of a team right now. They're down a lot of guys. They lost a lot of guys in free agency. They're not the team that they were last season and the season before. So
I didn't realize that they were only 8-19.
Yeah, they suck.
I don't think they're going to suck anymore. I think they are going to slowly start creeping up the standings. I don't know if that means they'll make the playoffs because they're in this big hole, but they got their shot in the arm back with having Ja Morant. And they still have talent on the team. They still have Bane. They still have Marcus Smart now. Like they're good. Their record is not indicative of who they are going to be.
We get them in the midst of a pretty hellish scheduling situation. So they play, it's Grizzlies Pelicans on the 26th, Grizzlies Nuggets on the 28th. Then they come to LA for Grizzlies Clippers the next day.
Okay, I like that.
I like that a lot. Okay, I'm not.
That sounds like a schedule loss for them.
Yeah, that's making me feel a little bit better about that matchup. So this feels like it's not crazy to think the Clippers could head in to 2024 with a little bit of a win streak going, right?
3-0 would be pretty nice. Pretty nice way to start the year.
Not bad.
That would put them at 20-11. I like that.
It would be fun. And then the Clippers, of course.
Not quite 4,500, but 1/1500th of that.
Thank you. Wow, you are good at math. And then, of course, the Clippers.
Good at math, bad at time. You know, it's my curse.
It's my curse, bro. Then, of course, the Clippers play on New Year's Day at 7:30, which I have no idea what to think about a New Year's Day game. So
I like that it's in the night.
Night of New Year's Day. New Year's Day night against the Heat, which will feel good.
There's going to be a lot of people shopping.
Why? Do people shop on New Year's Day?
Probably. Like after New Year's Day sales. Yeah, New Year's Day sales.
I don't know.
New Year's Day sales.
Every
car dealership does this, you morons.
What are you so upset about? I was just asking you.
You called me out like it was something crazy. It's not.
Wait, people are going to be buying cars instead of at the game?
Yeah, they are. But in those cars,
you need a Russell Westbrook Hyundai, buddy.
That's actually a great place to get a car. That's where we got our car. Shout out Russell Westbrook Hyundai. Still Thunder colors though on the license plate holder they give you.
Thunder up for life.
No, what the fuck are you talking about? So we're feeling good about. Oh, we got to pick players of the game. Players of the game versus the Boston Celtics. Adam, who are you going with?
James Harden.
Okay, we'll pick James Harden. We'll yelled out James Harden and pick James Harden.
He's back on his 1-word or 2-word answers.
James Harden.
What should they do? Win.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with, you know what? Monster Zoo. Big Zoo.
Oh.
Big Zoo.
Okay.
He only played 17 minutes against the OKC Thunder. They don't have Kristaps Porzingis, so he can't get pulled away from the basket with that stretch 5. I'm going with Ivica Zubac to have a little 15 and 12 game, 2 blocks.
Just a little 15, 12, and 2. I like that idea. All right, so Will said James Harden. No logic, just saying James Harden, just picking him.
Well, it just goes to the same logic. Like, if 1 of 2, 1, 3 is down, I really want to see Harden. I really want to see Harden be taking the reins of the team. And obviously as a facilitator, that's great to see. But I like to see him empowered offensively, like as a scorer. And I think that's a good matchup for him.
So like we expected, logic and time casual don't go well together.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow. I don't know what's happening. The pod is unraveling as we hurdle towards 2024. I'm doing my best.
Keep it contentious.
Not keep it contentious. We're all Clippers. We're all.
You're tearing this pod apart.
Lisa.
I am picking someone who I really hope is good to end 2023 to be
PJ Tucker. Buddy, you did it.
It's not.
Wow. Charles picks PJ Tucker.
I don't like this new thing where you guys are somehow PJ Tucker fans. It makes
you are. You picked
no
him.
sense. Terrence Mann. I'm tired of this. The people are starting to maybe get a little too spicy when they're talking about.
There's a mutiny on Terrence Mann in Clipperland right now on the Clipper ship. He's looking like Byron's dog. If you read The Wager,
thank you. I was just about to reference The Wager, man. Genius. It's looking like Captain Cheap if you know about The Wager. But no, Terrence Mann. I'm not asking him to have 20 points. He's just going to be efficient. He's going to find a shot. He's going to be efficient. He's going to help boost this elderly Clippers team in this 12:30 start. He's going to hit his first 3. Terrence Mann is going to have a bounce back game, and people are going to appreciate it, and they're going to see how good he is at point of attack defense too, because he's going to help the Clippers play good defense as well.
Can we address this for a second? Because Terrence Mann has been a talking point over the last couple of days, especially after he struggled again in OKC in a game where they could have used him to catch that heater finally. Got a little cat there.
Yeah, it's a little gravy.
Hey, what's up, Gravy? I remember you.
If you're not watching the YouTube, you missed my very cute small cat. It's over youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast.
I hear cat videos are big. That's going to get us a rating spike here.
Yeah, we need to do a segment on just cats on the last segment.
Okay. But Terrence Mann, for all the concern about him offensively and how he's hurting the starting lineup, well, in 15 games since the new starting lineup with him next to James Harden, they're shooting 53% as a team and 41% from the outside when Terrence Mann is out there in the starting lineup. Why are we so concerned if it's not hurting the team? It would be nice, and I think at some point he's going to get back to his career averages from the outside, but when he does, that means they'll be even better.
I agree with you, Adam. I think like the more troubling thing is it seems like we're seeing more of indecision Terrence. I don't even care if he's missing the threes so long as he's taking them. I just think offensively, if he's second guessing himself or not having confidence, that dilutes some of his value and all the good things that, even though his shooting hasn't been great to start the season, he still has been. He's been. I don't know what we do without him on the defensive end, I guess, especially with,
that's very important.
He has been a huge part of being able for Kawhi and Paul George to be able to do what they do on the offensive end by him picking up a lot of the slack there. He's a great glue guy. He's been doing all of these things. I think the thing that gets troubling is when you see him overthinking things again on the floor, because we've seen that before. And I guess I just feel like at this point in his tenure, he should be a little bit more secured. Although I'm still giving him the leeway because he has been asked to do. Can you do this? He has been asked to do more throughout his tenure than any other Clipper, and that has only continued this year with him, being in and out of the starting lineup. That ankle injury, I think, really, really set him back. I think we'd be looking at a different Terrence Mann right now had that not ever happened. But I agree, he's going to bounce back. I just think the things that are more troubling are not necessarily the numbers so much as how he looks tentative at times on the floor.
But my point then would be, it's not really hurting the team. What if he was hitting 3-pointers? That starting five would be at 44% together. They'd be shooting 55% from the field. Like, okay, maybe they can't reach their max potential until Terrence Mann finds his shooting stroke, but they're pretty damn good still because of all the little things he does. I take your point. The wheels are turning. You can see it out there. He's overthinking or underthinking or paralysis by analysis. He is in his own head, to say the least, offensively with his shot. But they're still damn good with that starting five, with him out there and what he brings defensively and being a connector. And teams, by the way, I saw it against Dallas. They were still closing out on him on 3-pointers. They're not sagging off of him and treating him like he's Russell Westbrook in the corner. His reputation precedes him. He's a 38% career 3-point shooter. So let's not overreact to this right now and say Amir Coffey should all of a sudden be starting because Terrence Mann is in a shooting funk, which has not affected the team at all.
And that is my pick for player of the game for the Clippers. Let's go, Terrence. Right? Yeah, the fireworks game. Let's go. All right. Let us know who you think is going to be player of the game, either on YouTube or over on Twitter @ClippersPod. I think we've all been right every time we've guessed one of these, which is pretty crazy. That success rate's unbelievable.
Don't make me pull receipts on that.
If you went back and pulled those receipts, we would have to have a talk
to point out the times we were wrong
about players of the game.
Because surely Adam's never been wrong.
That would be so funny.
Not during humility season, I'll tell you that.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk Kawhi Leonard first team All-NBA status as of now, and then do a fun little game, and then send everyone on their merry way. We got ads coming up. They've been loud for some people. If that's been the case for you, go ahead and turn it down. We got ads coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in Clips and Dip, Season 2, Episode 33. I'm Adam Oslin. We got Tummies All Good and Time Casual on the show as well.
Bro, Tummy's all good. I will take that as a nickname.
Chuck Mockler, the pink stuff did the trick, is with us along with Will Updike. The Clippers have won 9 of 10 now. That's where we're pivoting to and shifting to after they lost their first game in 3 weeks in OKC. But there's some other stuff to talk about, like award season. And just starting to get that momentum for all the casuals out there, not necessarily time casuals, but just NBA fans who still feel like, oh, Kawhi Leonard only plays twice a week. I still see that stuff out there.
They start watching during Christmas. That's a section of fans for sure. Yeah.
It's real. Kawhi Leonard played 27 straight games until missing that game against the OKC Thunder. But 27 straight, by being a two-way player, it's a little bit more meaningful because of his impact on both ends of the floor. And he is back to consistently playing locked in elite defense, very good to elite defense out there, and especially taking up the challenge late in ball games when it's winning time. That's what's most important. He's out there guarding the other team's best player, and it's telling everyone in the huddle that's what he wants to do.
Hell yeah.
So Kawhi Leonard, right now, if the season ended, he's first team All NBA. He is one of the 5 best players in the NBA. That's what that would mean.
I think it's true, right? So if let's look at who's for sure on the ballot, right? You have Joel Embiid. He has better numbers than his MVP season last year so far. So I think you kind of got to put Joel on there.
And it's positionless now, so anybody.
Which makes it weird. Jokic?
No, not right now.
You don't think so? No Jokic. All right, so Embiid, Giannis.
He's had some tough stretches.
Giannis?
Probably Giannis. Yeah, he had the 60-point game recently.
I think probably Giannis. Shea?
Yeah, probably Shea, given team success as well.
So there's 3. I'm not seeing a lot of other people who are going to knock Kawhi Leonard off those last 2 spots.
No, you might be able to put Jason Tatum in there as 4.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Because
you got to think about games missed, because there's all the stuff now too about 65 games, which Kawhi Leonard is more than on pace for.
Oh, I'm taking that into account. 27 to 28 games played so far.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone who's dethroning Kawhi from first team as of December 22nd, 5:19 p.m. for our timestamp fans out there. Will, what are you seeing? You look like you're in Swordfish right now with all the hacking you're doing. Are you looking up advanced stats?
Somebody in the room with you and we can't see him.
Who's leading in VORP? That's my pick for first team. Whoever's leading in VORP, value over replacement player.
Ooh, Anthony Edwards might be in here.
Oh yeah, is Gobert?
He's
playing defense at a level that is, as much as I hate to admit, defensive player of the year level.
I mean, I put Anthony Edwards over him still because
you can't have 2 from the same team, probably, right? They're not going to put.
Is that 2. A rule?
No, new rule. Only 1 from each team. That'd be great. It's like the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, where teams can only nominate 1 guy to be first team All NBA. This actually might be a good rule. I like this idea.
They used to have in baseball where there has to be a representative from each team making the All-Star game. I don't know if that's still around.
Dude. That's awesome. Just like the shittiest team in the world, you still have to send a guy. I think Anthony Edwards, yes. So that's 4?
Somebody is.
Who's the point guard? Because there's got to be a point guard.
There doesn't need to be a point guard. It's positionless.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Luka could still be in here.
Yeah. And this is where how hard it is to be a two-way player. This is why the two-way player gets discredited, because Luka's defense is bad and Kawhi Leonard plays as good of an offensive game. It's different, but it's as good of an offensive game, and he plays first team all defensive level defense. Yeah.
I would put him above Luka because of no defense, and Anthony Edwards just because of how hot Kawhi Leonard has been. But I think that's a conversation, those 2.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, for sure.
I think he's likely in. He's likely all first team.
Kawhi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Will, who are you taking over Kawhi?
PJ Tucker.
Shut the fuck up. I knew it. I was already saying shut the fuck up. Terrence Mann, I actually think should first team All NBA.
Who else could be in this conversation then?
I
Oh,
don't watch-
Kevin Durant could be in the conversation with Phoenix, even though they've lost 3 of their last 10.
How many games has he missed?
I don't think he's missed many. He's still been putting up numbers in a lot of those losses.
Wait,
Yeah,
they've
that's
only
true.
lost 3 games out of the last 10? 7-3 isn't that bad.
Sorry, they've lost 7 of the last 10.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
That's worse.
Record casual am I?
The numbers guy. Will's the numbers guy, dude. He called it out. That is worse. 3 and 7 is worse than 7 and 10. All right. Well, we have I think we've all settled it. Kawhi will be first team All NBA at the end of the year. I think this conversation pretty much settles it in December 22nd, 5:22 p.m. Go ahead and lock it in. NBA brass, whoever is Adam Silver, if you're listening, leave a review. It would really boost us to have that email address on there. All right, now we're getting into a fun thing. It's the holiday season. Somehow Christmas is on Monday. We're doing a Love, Marry, Quarantine from the old Locked On Clippers show. These are so you gotta pick one to Adam. If you're unfamiliar, you gotta pick one that you love, pick one that you marry that you're really committed to, and pick one to quarantine because it's
Get it the hell away from me.
Get it the hell away from me.
It doesn't mean that's the person you would want to quarantine with. Like that's the only person
we just
left
told
in
you
the
rules,
world,
dude. We just told you the rules.
It means they're sick, and you say, "Get away from me."
Just a lot of people could be confused. Okay, I'm trying to get clarification here.
I appreciate it. I'm here to clarify and make sure the game is as fun as possible for everybody. So we are picking Clippers players starring in classic Christmas movies. So the first option we have is Ivica Zubac as Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. The second option is Kawhi Leonard as Buddy in Elf. And the third option is Ty Lue as Clark Griswold in Christmas Vacation. Will, which of these are you loving, marrying, and quarantining? Which do you want to see the most?
I'm loving Christmas Vacation, but I have to make a substitution. I want it to be Paul George instead of Ty Lue,
that's
because
fair.
I think when he gets the Jam of the Month club instead of getting a Christmas bonus, Paul George doing that speech to me is just it's perfection. I want that.
Okay,
I need to
that's
see that in a film.
Okay.
I'm sure AI is going to be
Little
ruining
nippy.
every single movie soon, but you'll be able to put Paul George in there. So that's the only good outcome of all of AI. So thanks for that.
You download an app just to put Paul George. That's what, all right.
In
so
movie.
you're
I'll
marrying
spell that
one?
app.
You're marrying that one?
I'm loving that one.
And what are you marrying?
I'm marrying. I got to marry Ivica Zubac as Kevin McAllister.
It's
and
so funny.
And I'm quarantining Kawhi's buddy the Elf. That's not really. He'd be James Caan in that movie.
So I had that as the other option too. I kind of wanted to throw Elf in there.
Kawhi is the dad in Elf. I think is really funny.
Walter. That would be good.
Walter.
All right, so let's switch it, Adam. We'll do Kawhi as the dad and Elf. Which of these three are you? What's your love, marry, quarantine?
Can I get Kawhi as Bruce Willis in Die Hard instead? Like with the way he's shooting?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun. I mean, that's freaking Kawhi Leonard lately.
You're loving Kawhi as
Loving that.
John McClane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
As Don McClane.
No. That would be funny too, actually. What if Kawhi went as Don McClane as Halloween one year?
Believe it.
All right, what are you marrying?
I'm marrying Ivica Zubac as Kevin McAllister in Home Alone.
Him hiding. It's so stupid.
Just Zoo doing one of these
Yeah.
is perfect.
I want to quarantine Elf, even though I took Kawhi from Elf and put him in Die Hard because
very
I've never
fluid
seen
game.
Elf, and I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell fan in the world.
Interesting.
Have you not seen Elf just not something you're interested in, or is it now kind of like a point? Because that movie is.
I don't like when Will Ferrell is the main actor. It just wears on me. I feel like he's doing the same SNL routine I've seen so many times before. I like him as side characters, like in Jay and Silent Bob or like in Wedding Crashers more.
Would you have no interest in ever seeing Elf? This is like Brian Seaman.
If it was Christmas season, maybe I'd check it out. But
if
it is Christmas.
But alas, it is December.
It's
22nd.
not. It's It's humility season.
All right, that's fair. I am marrying Zoo as Kevin McAllister. That one made me laugh just out loud in my apartment.
Oh, I could see him with the
thinking
mac
about
and
that.
cheese.
Oh yeah, come
The
on.
Wet Bandits would get wrecked.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. Zoo's just one of the pranks is he makes them stand underneath a basketball hoop and dunks on them, and then a trap door puts them into the basement or something. I'm gonna love Kawhi as Walter and Elf. That'd be very funny. But it makes me think of what other Clippers player would be Buddy to annoy Kawhi as Buddy the Elf.
Reggie
Bones
Jackson.
Bones or Russ, because Russ would be a good Buddy the Elf to Kawhi's Walter, I think.
It would have been Reggie a few years ago
100%.
when Kawhi called him out and said I didn't pass the ball for that shit.
100%. Or Sindarius Thornwell, who just seemed like a very fun locker room guy. I will just say.
Who I pulled receipts on, and he tried to come after me.
Well, there you go. And then I guess I'll quarantine Ty Lue as Clark Griswold because Ty Lue works so hard. You know, I just don't want to see him in that scenario. He just works so hard. I think that about wraps it up for this episode of Clips and Dip. Thank you to everyone who was on the YouTube live yesterday. That was super fun. And subscribe if you want. That'd be a good time. Will, where can these people leave a review if they want to for this podcast?
If you want to leave a review for this podcast, you can do that over on Apple Podcasts. You can also do it on Spotify now. If you'd be so inclined, it would help us out. The review thing on Spotify is recent-ish. If you want to give the best gift to any of your family members or friends, have them subscribe to at Clippers Podcast over on YouTube. It's free, and it gives all year round. It really helps us out. You can listen to us on anywhere you get your podcast. Watch us on YouTube. Chop it up with us over at Clippers Pod on Twitter. That's it. That's where you can find us.
Adam's throwing up the wristwatch. He's got to get out of here. Adam, any quick positive words before the holiday season?
Time casual going a little long there.
God damn.
I think the Boston Celtics are going to overlook the Clippers in this game and maybe punt and get ready for Christmas Day against the Lakers.
Let's do it.
I think it's happening.
Let's do it. I think it's happening too. We're going to will it into existence. We're going to have some double dips for y'all. Full pod out maybe on Wednesday. We're going to take a little bit of time. It is Christmas, but maybe we'll have something fun for you. Some YouTube hangs or something. We hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday season. And as always, let's go Clips.